So how do you cope with long COVID on a day-to-day basis? And can you share some tips with our viewers as well, please?
Shall I go first? Okay. When I realized that this is going to go on and on and on, I thought I would take hold of my life. So what I did was I make sure that I don't have any financial stress. So I sold my car, try to walk more and all the other stuff. But then, of course, eventually I realized that my independence has been taken. I bought another car. Then just eat very simple food because I can't even make a meal without having to sit down for like a few hours before I continue with the cooking. So just like microwave, and instead of cutting vegetables and all that, I buy pre-cut vegetables, like frozen vegetables. So it's easier, and eat very simple food. I used to like to cook very complicated food, curries and all that. But now I just have to stick to normal microwave, easy, just one boiled food. And even though then I feel that I need to rest for a few days after doing that kind of normal daily task. That means I meant being in bed, not even anywhere else, not even to my garden, just staying in bed and falling asleep all the time because I'm so tired. And when that happens, when I'm very tired, my chest will feel very, very tight as well. So that's how I feel that we need to do little at a time and then rest a long time. And if I have something going on, like a meal with my friends, which took me some time before I started going out, because I still have that phobia of mixing with people. And especially when there is no mask now, it's even worse. Yeah. So anybody else?
I find that I had to go back to basic baby steps after getting out of bed. You know, we've talked about walking down the stairs. It was a matter of crawling down the stairs and crawling back up the stairs. I found that I couldn't, going into the bathroom, I had to plan it. I had to stick to the basics. There's workarounds. I can't walk into a room with steam. That just completely floors me. I can't breathe. I can't sing and stand up at the same time. I can't go shopping. How I realized there was problems, and I tried to go shopping down the shopping aisle. And I remember having to keep stopping because I couldn't breathe and everything was going like blackout. And so how I get around that now is don't go shopping much, you know. I have to do things in bullet sizes and I have to plan it. So if I know I want to have a few hours at the house tomorrow, I have to be on bed rest for like a day and a half. It's crazy, and it's hard to explain to anyone.
It's hard not to be spontaneous with things as well. Like I know, particularly recently, like with celebrations and things, and people are like, oh, should we go for a picnic now? And you're like, well, actually, to go for a picnic, we've got to go in the car. So that's something itself, like we need to plan. And it's so many little bits that people don't realise how tiring they are or how exhausting, just like that spontaneity of just being able to go to the shop or go in the garden, go and do whatever. You have to plan so many bits in and build up to it. Like for me, in the morning, it takes me an hour and a half from waking up to getting out of bed, just because I need to keep resting. So like I'll get up, like I'll go to the loo, go back to bed, like rest for a bit, have my tablet, rest a bit more, have a wash, rest a bit more, like get half dressed while still lying in bed. Like there's so many steps that get added into doing things that you don't quite realise, like things that previously you just did and got on with, that now you almost took it for granted.
Yeah, previously I didn't know about all this tightness and all this, why we are, I didn't understand why every time I do a little bit more, I feel worse, until, of course, this research work telling me about pacing. Then I try to arrange to get my life to, to rest more. But we can't get it right, because I don't seem to get it right, because I think I've been always going over, doing more, because a tiny little thing can actually, may seem tiny for other people, but it's a huge thing for us to do, even a tiny thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good if you can get yourself into a bit of a routine, I suppose, as well. I think it's good, like my studies are supposed to try and get up, and then I try and do a couple of hours work, and then that'll be go to bed and rest for an hour and a half, like in the afternoon, and try and do a bit of breath work and some light stretching. But yeah, I suppose for me at the minute, I've been trying to do things that make me happy, and try and enjoy the small things as well. Like, I think before I caught COVID, I was always like, looking ahead and looking forward to the next thing, and never really like living in the moment. And now I've had to start, really appreciating like a small walk on the beach with my girlfriend, or having friends around and talking to them. And I think those things sort of stop you thinking that you're sick as well, which I think is good, promotes recovery.
David, you mentioned earlier on a bit about shopping. So how else have you tried to adapt to living with long COVID?
Sorry, is that for me?
Yeah, David.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear the first.
That's okay.
Well, I work a routine. I do 4 on, 4 off. So it's 4 hours on, 4 hours off. So I suppose, and this fits in with me. Obviously, it all depends when you start, but I don't obviously make it exactly 4 hours. I mean, it can be 4.5 hours or 3.5 hours, but that's the kind of routine I have through the day. Food is another issue. I went through a long period of time just eating rice with sauce on it, and I think that was mainly because the rice was not a problem because it was bland. The sauce, if I didn't like the taste, because with COVID, of course, your taste is changed as well. You can change the sauce to suit so you can't, if you see what I mean, you don't just take what's available. You have to make your diet fit your. It's like completely changing your way of living.
I think that's really interesting. Of like, even now, on particularly bad days, I have cereal for dinner because I can make it really sloppy, and you don't have to chew it. And it sounds ridiculous. And pre-COVID, I would never have even believed the energy of eating can be so exhausting sometimes, that actually if you have like Weetabix or something that you can make really sloppy, it's gross. But to be fair, I like cereal, so I love having cereals for dinner, but it's so tiring to just eat some days. And like weight loss has been a big thing for me, that I've lost over 10 kilos since, and now it's generally stable because I've got smoothies from the dietitian and bits that are 300 calories in this much drink, but it's trying to find ways that you can manage that.
It's like you're starting from the beginning. It's almost like you're a baby, and you're getting used to all these new experiences, and some you like and some you don't like, and Some make you cry and some make you laugh. I mean, I went through this. This is like a really personal moment here coming up, so stand by. I went through a spate. Luckily, it didn't last too long, probably a couple of weeks, where I was getting all emotional. Hey, come on! I'm a guy, you know. We don't get emotional. But I can remember on one occasion I was talking to my wife, and I said, "You'll have to excuse me." And I went in the other room and had a good cry. I don't know why, but
I think that I've had spoken to a few people that have, like, I've had it myself, like pre-COVID, never cried, but now like, maybe it is better than it was, but there's an awful lot of things that I'd sit and cry, and I think, I don't even know why I'm crying.
It wasn't over anything in particular. I mean, it wasn't as though, it just happened, you know.
And I feel like for me, it makes me feel, or made me feel better, at least sometimes when I'd had that cry. It was like letting out whatever, whether it was like frustrations and anger and things, I don't know, but
yeah,
I don't know whether you felt that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think we're all grieving, aren't we? We're just grieving over the person that we were. It's really hard.
Yeah, really interesting, because I went through a stage of being angry and lashing out verbally, because I'm trying to hold on to the Yvonne, what I knew, but I had to quickly get used to and introduce myself to the new Yvonne. And when I say introduce myself, I had to really dig deep and think, I'm not who I used to be. And you know, I can't remember things. I just can't remember things. And now that you know, David's brought up about smell, my family put me onto a vegetarian. They made me a vegetarian because I couldn't, smelling meat makes me want to vomit. And I never thought I'd be living on vegetables for a while. Anyway, I slowly got myself out of that and tried to introduce meat, but I cannot eat meat. I eat it just for the sake of protein, but I don't enjoy meat or chicken or anything like that anymore. But angry. For example, it was coming up to my 60th birthday, and I realised that I was having to get a stair lift instead of having my cruise. You know, these are the kind of things what's popping up in our lives now. And, you know, for example, other people around me are carrying on with their daily lives, planning holidays and things like that, where I'm having to go stick to like journeys in the UK now, which I have to plan like a whole 3 weeks before, because I can't just jump and go anymore. That free, happy-go-lucky, free lance living person has gone. I can't do anything without planning. I can't do anything without someone accompanying me. I can't do anything without having to check in with someone. Are you available that day? So I need to do this and I need to do that. So my independence has completely been shattered, and that's what I don't like. And I don't know if I'll ever get used to that anymore, not being able to just do what I want to do.
And it's really hard that if people are happy to help, but at the same time, you do still feel like a burden for them. And like, I know my parents, very fortunately, I still live with them and they look after me and they've been wonderful. But at the same time, you think, well, they need to have their own lives and they've not long retired to be able to go and do what they want. But actually now they can't go and do what they want because they've got to look after me. And sort of my partner, he's been really lovely, but he's at the moment literally 7,000 miles away in Chile. So I think when he comes over, that's going to be like he's said, like he's happy to help and to look after me and to take on that role. But sometimes the reality of it that actually it's not something that you can just turn off and like, this is how we are and this is our life. Of, I know previously, I don't think I really knew the impact of it, that actually by the evening you are so tired, or like you don't, it's not just like, oh, you get home from work and suddenly it's all better and you can just get on and cook dinner. Like, no, you can't just stop it and be better. Yes, you can put a brave face on and push it a bit sometimes if there's something special going on, but you pay the price of that, and sometimes you can't judge how long that's going to last as well. And sometimes it's just a few hours or a few days, and other times it's a few weeks. But yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, I was supposed to like go on a holiday this July to meet up with all my family from a few places around the world, and they have planned to even go for like a holiday resort somewhere. But I just mentally, I cannot accept the fact that I'm going to be in the plane with or in a place where everyone is not wearing masks. And so I told myself, I'm not going, especially school holidays is going to be crowded. So I told myself, I'm not going to go this time. I will plan to go during the off-peak time when there are fewer people around, and then I'm be more mentally prepared at that time as well. And the thing is, even my own daughter told me the holidays they go to, I won't be able to cope. And I felt like that is terrible thing to say. I mean, I know I'm ill and I cannot walk that far distance, but having that thing told right to your face, it really hurts.
It does. Amy, do you want to, maybe we should take a break?
Okay, concentration or brain fog or all that lot wrapped up. I found this seems to have COVID seems to have altered things. Like, for example, some words, when I start reading something, it's like a form of dyslexia. And it takes me a minute or two, or not a minute, but a moment or two to decide what that word is. This has never happened before, never. Language, like, you know what the Americans are like for talking very quickly. La, 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 la. Can't follow it anymore. Distractions. I can only focus on a particular thing. If something else happens to distract me, I completely forget about what I was doing before. I have to leave myself notes to remind myself that I've got to make a phone call the next day or whatever it might be. I think that will do for now. I think that'll get me into the nut house.
I have the same thing of, like, even sometimes when I'm like, I find often screens can make me more tired and things, so I try and avoid watching Netflix and like avoid screens for a large proportion of the day if I can. So I do like puzzles and take a break magazines and all those sorts of things. But I think, like, I've noticed that sometimes when I'm like, I think one thing and write another, and you're like, hang on a minute, like, now I'm aware of it, I look back and I'm like, oh, hang on a minute, I've done it for the last like whole magazine. How did I miss that? Or like I found with Sudokus, like in my head I'd finished it and I look at them and I'm like, there's still loads of blank spaces, like it's definitely not finished. And like COVID's just got my brain and it confuses words, and like some days are better than others, but definitely brain fog is very real.
It definitely is real. I've found that when I'm really tired, I'm talking like a baby, and like I'm saying one word and it's like, you know, it's really frightening because I don't understand why I'm talking like that. Or if I'm saying something, like I might be saying to you, can you pass me the fork? But it will come out as, can you pass me the knife? Or can you pass me the spoon? It doesn't come out as what I want it to come out as. But I found that because of the brain fog, I can no longer cook. Because combined with chronic fatigue, because if I'm able to put something on the stove and I sit down and that sudden exhaustion comes down on me, I can't get up to remove what I've put on the stove. Therefore, I'm not allowed to cook anymore because I've burnt so many things. Not only that, I've almost burnt the house down just by forgetting to turn the fire off. Or I've tried to make myself a cup of tea, but I'm not even switched the switch on. You know, brain fog is an awful thing.
Yeah.
And if I decide to have a conversation with you about something, again, if it's not noted down, I won't remember what I'm talking to you about, especially if I'm interrupted. It's crazy.
Yeah, like cooking as well. The thing is, I can't even follow recipes or things like that. I can't even remember how to cook anymore. And it takes me some time before I can even do something, cook anything. And because I have got to sit down and rest. And sometimes when I've got to leave the cooked food on the stove, on the kitchen cabinet, kitchen top overnight, just feel too exhausted, cannot even put them away in the fridge. It is just too, like, I feel as if there's a disability there, and it's really, really, really sad to think that that was not me.
Yeah. And what other impacts has living with long COVID had on your day-to-day life? Such as you talked about the jobs, leaving your jobs, financial impact, disability, getting benefits, and so on.
Yeah, I think we could do with a program completely on benefits. I mean, would it be? I don't know whether it's possible to get somebody from the Citizens Advice Bureau to participate in one of these meetings. Somebody that actually knows about benefits, because we all know about our own particular circumstances and stuff like that, but we don't know anything about everybody's. And I think if you had somebody who could on the panel that could actually put you right on things, because it would help us all.
I called the Citizen Advice Bureau and they asked me to apply for ESA, employment support. I don't know what this A stands for. Then they just guide you through that. I think if you call at Citizen Advice Bureau, they tell you what you're entitled to. That might help.
You managed to get through to them all right, did you? Because I've
Yes.
tried once or twice and no luck.
I think what I've learned so far is when you call this type of when you call, you just have to leave your phone on loudspeaker and just continue with your work until you get answered, and call in the morning, early in the morning.
Yeah.
You get through to someone if you just need to be persistent, I guess.
David, I did a lot of research myself regarding the benefits, and I think I introduced Amy to Citizen Advice Bureau because they will even help you to complete the documents what is needed. The hardest thing is getting an appointment with them. However, if they can't accommodate you, they will put you on to someone else in the local council who will even help you with benefits. Because everyone's situation is different. I didn't even know I was disabled until I spoke to an occupational therapist at work, and after speaking to him, he said to me, "I'm disabled," and that's when I realised, well, I need to do something about this. I'm no longer employed simply because I kept having all these breaks off work. So I asked them to let me go. I actually asked them to let me go, to save face, really. And then, by looking at places like Turn to Us, it's a really good way of educating yourself on what. But however, it's okay educating yourself, but do you have the energy to educate yourself? This is another thing as well. So definitely Citizens Advice Bureau.
Yeah, Yvonne has actually told me to apply for PIP. And I actually tried to apply for it, but then decided to back off because I may not look as disabled as I am. And but then my niece, because I stayed with her for about 3 months, she told me that I'm actually disabled. So I applied for it. And because I have I'm not using any walking aids and all that, because I think I still have that pride that I do not want to show I'm disabled. So if I were to walk for some distance and I can't, walk, because sometimes with long COVID, it's not every time you are like that. You might have rested another day before you even go out. So maybe you have a little bit more energy to walk a little bit more. But sometimes I do feel that I'm so tired, I just couldn't move anymore. Or even do anything, like even in the shower, couldn't actually stand for long without having to lean on something. So just because I didn't have a shower stool, just because I didn't have a walking stick, they just say that I'm not qualified. So, but I'm still under the doctor's. I'm still under consultants, so I'm sure they would give a note.
I think we need to be asking our GPs for help from the occupational therapists in the community, because they will actually come and analyse your home situation, and then they're the ones then who will be able to prompt you to say that you do need support with whatever aid it is, and that you do need support with a perching stool, for example, in the kitchen. They're the ones who can guide you. Yes, it's a pride thing for us all, but it's something that has to be done, I think.
Yeah, because I feel that we, actually, when I sold my car, I felt that my independence had been robbed. First of all, my daily, sorry, I've got a call coming, to apologize. Okay, continue talking, and I just,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, it's interesting the words that you've been using. Some of you, it's a pride. It's a pride thing, and I can totally understand that. So, but it's really interesting that you're using that type of words. Okay. Any other impacts on your day-to-day life at all that you want to mention before we move on to the next theme? No. David, Yvonne?
Nothing that comes to immediate mind.
Yeah. Or even sharing little tips on how you go about your day-to-day life, or your new day-to-day life.
Yeah, it's almost like you're a different person now. It's I'm very IT orientated, and it's almost like you've wiped the memory from the computer and you're starting over again. And because that the old me is not coming back, which is strange. Whether it ever will, I don't know. It's is this forever? What we've got now, is this what we're stuck with, or will there be some bright spark somewhere who comes up with a solution? Because the old me must still be inside somewhere.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's all about accepting accepting this new you throughout your journey. And I can feel that obviously some of you have got difficulty accepting this. Sorry, I totally understand that. But it's interesting the way you put it into words. That's fascinating.
Can I add? Sorry.
No, it's all right.
I just want to think because I want to add into the financial part of it that we haven't spoken about how it affects us every day. Not being working, no income coming in, just getting little ESA. The thing is, there's so many things that we used to do it ourselves. Like, for example, I used to love, I love cars. I love driving fast cars and all that. And I used to wash my own cars, because if you go into those, hand wash, they scratch your car and all those things with their cloth. And I used to wash my own car, polish my car. Now I can't even do that. So I've got to pay somebody to do it, having to close my eyes and say that, okay, the car is just a thing. Health is more important. Then after that, I've got a big patio in my house. I used to jet wash it myself. And now I can't do it. I asked for a quote, and the person say it's 1,800 to jet wash my patio. And, in case any of those grouts comes out, they have to put it back. So it's 1,800. I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness, how am I going to afford that? I mean, because we have to try to put the money where it's more important. And definitely that will have to push me to do it myself slowly, like every day, one little tiny patch or something like that. So these things affect us. The spending power is not there anymore. That's what I feel.
Yeah, that is very true. Anyone else wants to add something on living with long COVID on a day-to-day basis at all?
I'm struggling with things like housework. I used to love to keep my house spotless. I don't know if it's a bit of OCD, but it used to be spotless. And I can't do anything now. And if I do try and do anything, I'm back again in bed. So I don't know how anyone else is getting around things like cleaning and keeping the bathroom clean, and how do you all do it?
Well, I'm not going to have any guests.
Robot vacuum cleaner.
I was thinking of getting a robot cleaner, the robot.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they're absolutely fantastic. In fact, in about 20 minutes, it will come out from its hutch and it will be zipping around the lounge.
Oh, okay.
100 quid off eBay.
Brilliant, thank you.
I can't remember the last time I used a vacuum.
Oh, I just vacuum like downstairs first, then rest for a few hours, and then vacuum upstairs. And then not having any guests around, so I don't have to actually clean after them. So I just have got to socialize through WhatsApp calling.
That's okay. Lewis, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I suppose, being a student, I was relying on working to sort of offset my fees and loans and stuff. And I've not been able to do it. It's been quite hard, I think, being classed as a student to get benefits, especially that's what I'm coming to now, really. And I can't get ESA because I haven't paid enough national insurance, and then universal credit looks like it's going to be difficult as well. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. Yeah, sort of panicking about it at the minute, to be honest, but hopefully I'll get around it. But it's, yeah, there's not much clarity out there on what sort of, yeah, benefits there are, especially for people in my situation.
Yeah, you're facing a whole lot of different problems just because you're a student financially. I mean, yeah, it's going to be tricky.